Welcome, everyone, to today's Explainer. I am so thrilled to have you here because we're unpacking something that literally affects millions of people across the globe. Listen, if you or maybe your family members are part of the vast Indian diaspora, you're absolutely going to want to pay close attention to this one. We're talking about the Ministry of Home Affairs' biggest overhaul of the Overseas Citizen of India, or OCI, program in over a decade. Actually, scratch that. It's not just an overhaul, it's a complete game changer. These aren't just minor tweaks we're looking at, these are sweeping changes that kicked in on April 1st. We've got brand new standardization, strict new compliance deadlines, and some pretty great new perks. So, let's jump right in.
Okay, let's dive into this, because I need you to ask yourself right now, is your OCI card genuinely up to date? Now, I know it sounds like a boring basic administrative question, but with these new April 1st regulations, the rules of the game have completely shifted. This update is incredibly personal and frankly, it's urgent. It dictates how fast you'll get through the airport, exactly how much you're going to pay in administrative fees, and whether or not you might get slapped with a penalty the next time you fly. Your current compliance status, that's the key to unlocking everything else we're about to cover in this explainer.
All right, so to make sure you get exactly what you need, here's our game plan. First up, the big OCI overhaul. Second, crucial new passport rules. Third, faster travel and research. Fourth, expanded diaspora eligibility. And finally, number 5, the new global fees.
Let's start right at the top with Part 1, the big OCI overhaul.
And this brilliantly illustrates the massive shift we're seeing. For years, dealing with OCI paperwork was like navigating this disjointed maze of red tape. It was the kind of global bureaucracy that practically required a PhD just to figure out. The fundamental goal of these new revisions is to finally modernize all of that. Under the old rules, you faced these random country-specific fees, and if you were an overseas professional, you were hit with this really restrictive 6-month residency requirement just to do research. But under the new rules, we finally have a clean, uniform global fee structure. Plus, that heavy residency requirement for researchers is completely gone. Poof. It's truly a night and day difference in how the system treats applicants.
That brings us to Part 2, crucial new passport rules.
Listen, if you already have an OCI card tucked away in a drawer somewhere, this is absolutely the most critical part of this explainer. Let's walk through the new timeline so there is zero confusion. Step 1, you renew your citizenship documents and you receive your brand new foreign passport. Awesome, congratulations. But Step 2, the literal second that new passport is issued, a ticking clock starts. You immediately enter a strict 90-day compliance window. Step 3, within those 3 months, you absolutely must digitally update your OCI records to reflect your new passport details. You can't just, carry your old passport, your new passport, and your OCI card bound together with a rubber band and hope for the best anymore. You have exactly 3 months to sync the data.
So, the crucial point is $25. That highly specific number is the exact penalty fee you are automatically going to incur if you miss that 90-day update deadline. Now, you might be thinking, well, $25 isn't exactly a massive bank-breaking fine, and you're right, but it serves as a very clear, undeniable signal from the Ministry of Home Affairs. Compliance is no longer optional, it's not flexible, they are incredibly serious about keeping this database actively updated, and this penalty is how they're enforcing that 3-month rule.
And frankly, that $25 penalty, that's really the least of your worries if you ignore this rule. Outdated records now lead to direct immigration flags. The authorities are actively monitoring for incomplete or old OCI details at major entry points. If you fly into big hubs, specifically checkpoints like the Delhi and Bengaluru airports, with an OCI that hasn't been updated, you are seriously risking being flagged, questioned, and significantly delayed right there at the immigration counter. Imagine taking a grueling 15-hour flight only to be held up just because you missed a 90-day digital update window. No way. It is simply not worth the risk, guys. Just update your records.
Okay, let's take a quick breath and pivot to Part 3, faster travel and research.
So we've talked a lot about the stick of penalties and delays, but this overhaul also brings in some major carrots if your data is correctly synced. The new rules actually mandate tighter linking between your OCI records and your biometric data. Because the system now demands that everything is updated within that 90-day window, immigration can finally rely on real-time data matching. For you, the traveler, this directly translates to way faster verification at the border. More specifically, this paves the way for much faster processing through the automated e-gates at Indian airports. You get to completely skip those long manual processing lines, just scan your biometrics, and walk right on through. It's a huge win.
But the perks extend way beyond the airport terminal, especially for high-skilled talent. I absolutely love this quote from the source material.
Participation in India-based research and fellowship programs has been made easier for overseas professionals. Remember that old 6-month residency requirement we talked about a few minutes ago? With that hurdle totally removed, India is sending a very clear message to academics, scientists, and researchers in the diaspora. They're basically saying your cross-border mobility is now completely frictionless. You can bring your expertise to Indian institutions without totally uprooting your entire life just to satisfy some outdated bureaucratic residency clause.
Moving right along to Part 4, Expanded Diaspora Eligibility.
Now, this might just be the most historically significant element of the entire April 1st overhaul. Under these new revisions, OCI eligibility has been formally expanded to include 5th and 6th generation Indian origin Tamils living in Sri Lanka. The OCI program isn't just tightening its rules for existing members, the government is actually actively opening its doors wider to properly acknowledge the enduring cultural and historical ties of this specific multi-generational community. It's a really profound step.
And the best part is, they haven't just changed the rule on paper, they've made it practically possible to actually apply. To facilitate this massive expansion, Sri Lankan government-issued records are now officially accepted as valid proof of ancestry. This completely cuts through the red tape. If you're a 5th or 6th generation Indian origin Tamil in Sri Lanka, you don't have to go on a wild goose chase to hunt down impossible to find century-old Indian documents anymore. Your local government-issued records can now serve as the official bridge to claiming your overseas citizen of India status.
And finally, we reach Part 5, the new global fees.
Now, what's really interesting about this breakdown is just how uniform the newly standardized financial structure is. It's a massive relief. If you're applying for a fresh OCI card while living abroad, it's a flat $275, or your exact local currency equivalent. Filing that fresh application from within India, it's exactly 15,000 rupees. What if you just got a new passport and need an OCI reissuance to stay within that 90-day window? That's a $25 processing fee. And if you happen to lose your card, damage it, or if you need to finally convert an old PIO, Persons of Indian Origin, card over to an OCI, both of those duplicate and conversion services are a flat $100. No more guessing, no more mission-specific hidden costs. It's all completely laid out and standardized.
Which brings us to the end of our breakdown, and it leaves us with one massive, lingering question to ponder. Will these new rules truly streamline the diaspora experience? Look, the intention of the Ministry of Home Affairs is crystal clear. They want a modernized, biometrically linked system with uniform fees, expanded eligibility, and totally frictionless travel. But, as we've seen today, that modernized future requires strict compliance from you. Miss that 90-day window, and you're staring down the barrel of fines and frustrating airport delays in places like Bengaluru. It's essentially a trade-off, right? Greater efficiency in exchange for much tighter accountability. So, take a look at a passport, check those expiry dates, and ensure you are fully ready for this new era. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, stay compliant, and I'll catch you on the next one.